first episode of Dr. Doom Explains. The first thing that we have to look at when looking at the ritualistic mummification of a body is how decomp originally proceeds compared to as it proceeds with this ritualistic mummification. Now, where decomp is mostly studied is in the Appalachians of North Carolina and in Tennessee. What we have discovered is that it's 3 hours until rigor mortis sets in. That is the stiffening of joints and muscles, making bodies more opposable, if you will. Within 12 to 24 hours, the body loses all heat. That is called rigor mortis. Within 72 hours, rigor mortis goes away, and the body is more pliable at that point. 3 to 7 days is when the putrefaction happens. What putrefaction is when the pancreas releases enzymes to eat itself, and the stomach floats up like a balloon. When the stomach floats up, all the acids in the stomach swell to the surface through the mouth, the ears, any orifice that you have. This attracts the flies. Flies will come in and lay their eggs within your orifices and begin to eat. As those eggs hatch, they also begin to eat. And this is starting the process of the body rotting away. Not only are the enzymes of the pancreas eating itself and anything else that it comes in contact with, as soon as the pancreas is either destroyed or have made its way into the rest of the body, there are now flies and larvae eating you. This also attracts other scavengers. So within 3 to 7 weeks of the weather is going to help you go back to the ground. Whether it's rain or the wind, it's going to weather away your body. The flies coming, scavengers, raccoons are one of the scavengers that will come and eat you. Rats tend to eat your finger joints to help with their teeth, the blunting of their teeth, and just the natural rotting process. Now, in hot weather, because we're looking at why ancient Egyptians mummified their bodies, the putrefaction is more minimal because of the hot weather. The sun will evaporate a lot of the acids that are leaking out, and not necessarily the enzymes themselves because they're microscopic, but it helps lessen the effect, and it causes a natural mummification. Now, what the Egyptians did was, the first thing that they did was they covered and washed the body in wine. This helped get rid of a lot of infectious things that could hurt them, things that would start the rotting process faster because of things in the environment. All the organs were removed except for the heart, so the pancreas is gone, the stomach is gone. The reason they kept the heart, though, was because they believed that's where the soul was housed, and part of the Egyptian belief is that you go to their heaven, if you will, or their afterlife, with your body and with the stuff that you were buried with. So it was important to leave the heart intact in their chest. Then they are covered in nitrin. What nitrin is salt from the beds of dry lakes. So they're covered in that for 40 days. So the salt is therefore speeding up that drying out process. The skin's dried out. There's no stomach to let the leakage occur, so that's something they're not having to worry about. After 40 days, they take the body out and cover it in oils. The skin now has more elasticity and looks more real or more lifelike. Then they put the dehydrated organs back into the body. Now, what you see in the movies is them being put in canoptic jars. That was more for the elite. But often those jars were put back into the person themselves. In the mummy, the jars are, taken elsewhere, placed elsewhere. That's because in the movie there was a curse and they didn't want that person coming back to life or going, to the afterlife. So they took their organs away. Now, for people who aren't cursed, they put them back in. And they're often put back in with linens, flowers, leaves, herbs. The herbs and the flowers are to make the body smell nicer and to preserve it longer. It was a ancient form of embalming. The linen and the leaves were to make it more lifelike, because once you remove the organs, the stomach cavity collapses. So this is to make them more lifelike. The body is oiled again and then covered in linen. Then they are put into a sarcophagus and then buried in a tomb of some sort. Not everybody gets a huge pyramid, but there are often tombs for a family for them to be encased in. That helps against scavengers, looters, things like that. And and their whole process is to counteract the natural process of decomposition, because they believe, like I said earlier, that they are going to be heading into their afterlife with their bodies, because their bodies are a part of them. It's not just like a modern Judeo-Christian belief that their soul is leaving. They're taking it with them. And that is how decomp works in both the Appalachian and in hot weather, and that is how the ritual mummification of humans in ancient Egypt counteract that. Alright? Stay tuned for more evil.